calendar, and because the graphics that we made aren't as pretty as Troy and I, we're going to talk. I'm just going to read them off to you real fast and give you the gardening calendar, and we have one question, and just want to run through those, and then we'll spend the last part of the show talking a little bit more. I've got a couple more questions for Troy. So, okay, they've changed since last week. If you've got cannas, it's a good time to divide your cannas. They should just be getting ready to really pop up, so you can be dividing them, and you'll see where they are, in the soil, and you can dig in and divide them. Plant your gladiolas, and your gladiolas, that's something you can plant in succession every couple of weeks, so that when they come up and bloom, you're going to have a rotation going. Harden off your greenhouse plants destined for outdoors, which we can talk about that in relationship to this too.
Definitely.
Transplant your rooted cuttings. Yeah, it's topical, huh? Plant dahlias. Plant your spring annuals, anything that you know that you're going to use just for that short burst of color in the springtime. Spring vegetable planting. Also check the operation of your irrigation system before it really starts to warm up. Plant all kinds of stuff still a good time to plant because the pressure's not on from summertime yet. Seeds, sod, all that stuff. Remember and it's just about time to do your Bermuda grass seed. It's just another couple weeks. Remember to alternate mowing patterns on your turf. If you mow the same way all the time in the same spots, you're going to get ruts. That's a good tip to be a real professional. Plant your sun-loving summer annuals, the things that are going to take a little bit longer to come out. You might want to get those going now so that you can plant them a little bit later out there. And feed your azaleas, camellias, and gardenias with the specialty fertilizer for those. Now I have one question I'd like to get to. Let's see. It's from Mac. Mac says, something is eating my geranium blooms before they come out, and the blooms do not come out big and pretty anymore. What is it, and what can I do to get rid of it? Well, I don't know for sure what it is, Mac, but I have a hunch that it's probably a caterpillar, some larvae of moth or butterfly, and a lot of times they'll get there and they'll be eating on it. They'll be eating on those tender buds, on the leaf buds or the flower buds, and they'll be eating on them in the middle of the night and early in the morning. And so when you come out in the daytime, after you get up and have some coffee, read the paper, walk around, blah, 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 and you go out there, the bugs are already hiding. They're down underneath a leaf, or they've crawled down the stem and they're hiding, kind of digging under the soil a little bit or whatever, the leaf litter, and they're kind of hiding away from the hot sun or from the warm temperatures or whatever, and then they come out and chew on that. A lot of times that's the way it works. So what you need to do is you need to go out at 10 o'clock at night or 5 in the morning or whatever, whatever's most convenient, the flashlight, and check it out, or just go dig around and really look harder during the day. The cool of the morning is a good time, and see if you can find what it is that's eating it. If it's a caterpillar or a few caterpillars, you can just pick them off and, that's a good low pesticide way to get rid of the pest. Yeah, low environmental impact, or you can feed them to your chickens or whatever. The other thing is if you need to spray because you've got a lot of them or something, and it's not economic time-wise to be picking them off, you can spray with a BT product, which is a bacterial created product that the bacteria creates a poison that only kills the larvae of butterflies and moths. It won't affect any other insects. It won't affect you. It's very low toxicity to the environment also, but you got to get them when they're young. So that's what I think it is. So now let's get back to this. What about hardening these off, getting them ready for planting? Because typically you've got them under pretty controlled conditions.
Exactly right.
You're going to want to do something, aren't you, before you just slam them out into the harsh, cruel world?
Well, that's definitely the case. I mean, as wonderful and bright as these lights we're showcasing here today are, they are definitely not the sun.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. You
way cooler, I can tell you that.
Yeah, they definitely have a little more horsepower when we set them outdoors. So you definitely, like we were talking about, hardening them off. You want to, if you're doing them in a container, it's a little easier because you can control the light environment.
And you can shift the container closer and closer to the hot sun.
Yeah, you can get them in the shade a little bit every day and kind of move them around. If you're putting them directly out into the soil and they're in a direct sunlight condition, you may want to definitely give them some cover for a part of the day with like some sunscreen or something. Just
Yeah,
temporary.
because I know like the pineapple sage and these plants, they love the sun. I mean, that's a full sun, soak it up plant. But if you took it right out of this they're so tender because they're in this nice, gentle environment, and you put them in the sun, even a really sun-loving plant could shrivel up and, you know, burn.
Without a doubt.
So,
and that's definitely the case. I mean, the idea behind hydroponics is the plant works less hard to do its job. I mean, the oxygen's there, the nutrients are there. It just has to sit there and smile and grow.
Right. Well, now what about the nutrients? That's something we haven't covered yet.
Sure.
How do you manage those? Because obviously the plants are using up whatever's in there, and you have to maintain a certain level.
Sure.
How do you know when you've got enough, not enough, too much, whatever? How do you manage that?
Well, there are a lot of very, very well-made hydroponic formulas that are out on the market today. A lot of them right here in I'm not in Visalia today, I'm in Fresno.
Visalia, Fresno, the Central
all
Valley.
All in the Central Valley, without a doubt. So there's shops in Visalia, shops in Fresno, and they all carry a hydroponic formula. There's a lot of different ones. A lot of them are gearing now towards organics. For years it's been mineral salts and things of that nature, but with the new push towards environmentally consciousness, especially in the gardening industry, organics are coming to be. And so you have generally 2 to 3 part mixes. There are a few 1 part mixes on the market now.
You're talking parts per million then.
That is correct. So you basically read the back of the container based on the maturity of your plant, whether it's a seedling, mature, transitional, vegetative.
Right.
You put in what it needs at that point. There are a few different metering systems available on the market. You drop a probe in, it tells you the parts per million and the pH level.
So
which
you
is
have
very
a way
critical.
to monitor it.
Without a doubt.
Okay.
If you've got a larger system, you may have a consistent monitoring system where there are probes always in with a meter on the wall. If you're running multiple systems like this, you may have a portable where you can check each one individually.
So you don't have to buy a separate one.
That's exactly right. So the big thing you look at is they're very aggressive on the consumption of nutrients because, again, they're not working very hard to do anything but drink.
They're sucking it up.
That's exactly right. They're growing quickly. So as long as the pH level, which generally you keep levels, I believe at soil it's about 7. Here you're running about 5.2 to 6.2.
That's pretty acid, yeah.
So yeah, and at that point in time, and again it depends on the species that you're growing, but 5.2 to 6.2 is generally the norm in most hydroponic nutrient systems mix. And you can generally change that with there's pH up and pH down.
Right.
It's almost like taking care of your spa or something.
Right.
And just keeping
I
everything
mean,
in
if you
check.
could take care of the spa, you could take care of this.
Without a doubt. Except, this is a lot more fun. You get some
results out of it.
Yeah.
And you could do this ornamental. You could do it for vegetables. You could do it for whatever.
Without a doubt.
Now, you said something about spraying in here. Is this particular one like the other one that we saw where you're just pushing a lot of air up through the water, or is this a different
But what we've got here
mechanism?
is this particular one, like you were saying, is a vat of water that has air stones bubbling the water.
Right.
So the roots grow into those air stones.
Right.
Here you have a lower chamber of water, so it's much lower in the container.
Okay.
And it has literally, in this one right here, 16 spray heads, little microjet spray heads. And they're just spraying the nutrient solution, and as they break it apart, obviously they're aerating.
I gotta look down in there.
So yeah, spray for days.
That's tricky.
So yeah, it's literally just a little miniature irrigation system.
All right. Well, I think we're out of time.
Okay.
It's been great. Now, which camera? There we are.
There we go.
It's been great, and I've learned a lot. I hope you guys have learned a lot.
Thanks for the opportunity. I really
you
appreciate
bet.
it.
We'll see you next time. Dark purple lavender, and there's a nice interplay between the colors of the flowers on those two. And then down here in front are some Santa Barbara daisies that are just getting ready to bloom again. They have had